On today's show,
we continue to preview the upcoming finals by selecting our Warriors and Raptors X Factors.
We've got Trey Kirby live from Toronto to give us the sights and sounds from media availability.
And in Crossfire, can the Pelicans really convince AD to stay? And who should the Rockets look to trade?
It's Wednesday, May 29th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, Sweet World, and welcome to The Starters, presented by Jack Daniel's Old No. 7 and Tennessee Honey. I'm J.E. Skeets, alongside me as always, Tass Mellis. We got the Aussie Lee Ellis. And a little bit later, we're going to talk to the bearded one, Trey Kirby, live from Toronto. Tass and Lee are also going to step into the Crossfire, and we'll show you some sights and sounds from Media Day. Let's start by continuing to preview the NBA Finals. Game 1, it's still set for, Thursday night in Toronto. Very, very cool. It's going to mark the first time Steve Kerr's Warriors open up the NBA Finals on the road, which is interesting. But again, let's break this down. We're talking X Factors here, guys. And I want to start with the Warriors. Who do you have as the Warriors' biggest X Factor heading into this Finals?
It's Draymond Green. When Kevin Durant went out in the second round, Draymond Green picked it up. The ball was in his hands a lot. He was setting guys up in transition. He was their leading assist guy. He was scoring on the break. If that happens, it's series over for the Toronto Raptors. There's no doubt about it. The worry for the Raptors is that their best defensive players in Kawhi, Pascal Siakam, and even Marc Gasol aren't matched up with their best offensive players on the Warriors side. The best Warriors offensive players are their guards. Those guys are big dudes. But I think Kawhi Leonard, who doesn't really have a great matchup in this one, can shut down Draymond Green. You put Kawhi Leonard on him to stop everything, to get those deflections where the Raptors lead in the postseason, and maybe things slow down. Because you know Curry and Clay are going to go off, but if Dre is setting everybody else up, then it's over. And that's where Kawhi Leonard comes into play. That's his matchup, I do believe. Yeah. There's lots of talk about him chasing around Curry or chasing around Clay, but I think his best matchup isn't on Iguodala, isn't really a roamer. It's to stop Draymond Green, because Draymond Green has been amazing.
Yeah, he's a catalyst. I also like the idea of Kawhi guarding Draymond Green, because when the Warriors try inevitably to go to the Curry-Draymond Green pick-and-roll action that we see time and time again, well, then you've got maybe Kawhi then switched up onto Curry, which makes things a little more difficult. Oh, yeah. So I think you're right about that. Who do you have for the big X factor?
Well, I'm going with Andre Iguodala, because he has been brilliant in these playoffs. He didn't really do much during the regular season, because we know he cruises along. But come playoff time and come finals time, this is when Iggy delivers. He was the finals MVP, remember, back in 2015. And he's been replicating that form for Golden State. Whether it's starting, whether it's coming off the bench, he has been brilliant. Shooting the ball, picking up a defender. I mean, there's a very good chance, I think, that he might even start the game on Kawhi Leonard, just because he's got that length, he's got that body. We know that he can take these assignments and really, he'll get right into Kawhi's face. He can contest those shots, he can get his body out, block him out. And also, he's just one of those players. He's a key player on this team. When he gets going, the Warriors always win. There's never a game.
Right. If Iguodala is hitting threes, then you're very, very unlikely to beat them.
And he's the sort of guy that does find himself open a lot, whether it's in the corner or the top. That ball moves around. There's so much attention and gravity going to Steph and Clay. Iggy's the one who's often open. And again, come playoff time, he knocks those shots down.
Don't the Raptors have to play that strategy, though, defensively?
Sure.
Leave Iguodala.
You would rather him shooting than Steph or Clay, of course. I mean, Draymond, you would probably like shooting, but he's been so dominant in other ways. But just, again, Andre Iguodala, he just cruises through the regular season. You don't see him do too much. When it's time to win, he's got his body in shape. He just knows how to play, and he's always on the court during crunch time.
Yeah, that's a good one, both of those picks. I'm going to go with Klay Thompson as my X factor. As a Raptors fan, I'm actually petrified heading into this series with Klay Thompson. Here's why, Lee, you're laughing. This guy's upset about being an All-NBA snub.
Yeah.
That really, really irked him that he wasn't considered one of the best guards in the league this year.
Yeah.
And, the money included, he lost out on $30 million potentially. He's upset. And we're always talking about trying to contain Curry. You're chasing him around. Where's Curry? Where's Curry? Well, they have the other greatest shooter of all time. Curry is number one, and then maybe Clay at number two. He, as we've seen time and time again, can blow open a half, blow open a game, change a series just by how on fire this guy catches. So that, to me, again, he's upset. He's fired up about him not getting that in that All-NBA. I'm petrified. And the other thing is, he didn't even have that great of Clay series versus the Blazers. He shot 34% from three. He had one good game, 4 of 8 from downtown. Otherwise, he sort of struggled for Clay. That scares me, because Clay doesn't go too long without catching fire and hitting 6, 7, 8 threes in a game. So that's a bit of a worry.
Yeah, he also called Drake Aubrey today
Right.
on the jump. He must be very confident. He's calling him Aubrey.
All right, well, let's flip this over to the Raptors. Who do you have as the biggest Raptors X factor here in the finals?
I'm going with Marc Gasol because he has got such an important role in this series because how much time he spends on the court could really depend on how effective he is. Now, if he's scoring the ball and if he's rebounding and defending, then he stays on the court. But if he's not, if they're a little bit too quick and they go too small with Draymond at the 5, Marc might find himself a little bit more on the bench with Serge out there instead. But Marc Gasol was key in those last 4 games against the Milwaukee Bucks because he was hitting those 3-pointers. They could throw the ball to him and he would knock them down. But also on that defensive end, he is so important for what they do, the Raptors, getting rebounds, contesting shots, and just making sure they regain possession. And if he's doing that, it's so important for Toronto that they're not giving up second chances to the Warriors. Every time there's a missed shot, the Raptors have to get it. And Marc Gasol, former Defensive Player of the Year, not that same guy anymore, but very smart, knows how to use his body, knows how to get into the right position. And if he is hitting shots on the offensive end, then he stays on the court.
Yeah.
If he's not, he's probably on the bench.
Especially if the Warriors decide, like they have throughout the playoffs here, to blitz, to trap, to force the ball out of the star players' hands. They did it to Lillard. They did it to Harden at times. They did it to Lou Williams even at the end of the Clippers series. If they do that to Kawhi, then the Raptors sort of need like that Draymond-like guy that you can kick the ball to and then can be a playmaker and be confident with his shot. And that would likely be Marc Gasol if he's coming up to set the pick. Lowry a little bit as well, but you need that secondary playmaker once they double your superstar in Kawhi Leonard. And so it's instrumental, I think, that Marc Gasol has a huge series in this.
He also hit a key 3 in that Game 6 against Milwaukee in the corner because they kind of left him and said, make that shot, and he did. So if that shot's there for him again, has to knock it down.
I'm going to be interested to see him on the defensive end if they go up and set a pick for Steph and Marc Gasol gets caught in that island area like Kevin Love, let's say, in that 2016 finals where he danced with Steph. Is Marc going to be able to do that? That's a big question. From the offensive side, you mentioned Kawhi Leonard being doubled at times. I think they're going to try and play him a lot of one-on-one because they have the guys to do that. Now, Pascal Siakam is going to have to step up for me because there's not going to be a Fred VanVleet performance, I don't think, because the Warriors are going to be good enough to get out to those guys. If they can cover everybody, you have to have a guy like Pascal Siakam who can get his own. Outside of Kawhi Leonard, who can get his own on this team? Really, it's Pascal Siakam. And I think maybe the defensive matchup isn't as tough for him in this one. Yeah, he's probably going to be a second set of eyes on Curry, but he doesn't have to guard Giannis. And hopefully for them, for the Raptors on the offensive end, he's getting it going, especially in an open game. Pascal can really, really thrive. I think he's got to score a lot of points. There's going to be more points scored by the Warriors in this series than the Bucks did. So somebody's got to close that gap, and Pascal's got that ability.
I'll double down on that. My X factor, it's Danny Green. Oh, Danny Boy. Danny Boy's got to hit a 3 here.
He'll be open probably.
He is. I think he's going to have a breakout performance. I think he's due because he struggled.
He's due.
He struggled in the conference finals. He shot 4 of 23 from 3 in 6 games. This guy shot 45.5%, second best in the NBA in the regular season. And he also needs to stay on the floor, I think, for the Raps to have any chance in this finals matchup because his size and his sound defensive capabilities in theory, can help you at least try and slow down the Splash Brothers. So, he has to be out there because he's going to help you defensively. I mean, he was in the running for all defensive team. Let's not forget. Kawhi made it, but he was right there. But then he can only be out there if he can hit the open shot. So he's going to get these looks again, and you'd assume at some point he's going to have a breakout.
Well, like that series to the Spurs when he was almost Finals MVP those first 5 games, he can get on those streaks. And if he's hitting threes early on, that's huge for Toronto. If he's not, he's on the bench.
Yeah, exactly. And VanVleet, you give it a go, or Norm Powell. All right, final one here. Let's wrap up this finals preview, at least for today. Bold prediction. Bold prediction for this either game or series, whatever you got.
Kevin Durant's not playing in this series.
Wow.
He hasn't
Dr. Mellis.
He hasn't been cleared to play at all. And he hasn't been even cleared to practice. And Steve Kerr said today that he's got to get out and practice before he gets in a game. So there's only going to be one practice in between game 1 and game 2. It's unlikely that he gets into game 2. And I talked to my man Tom Haberstroh today, who is a sports science expert. He knows the NBA body more than any of us here. And he thinks that he's not going to play as well. And if he made the point that if Kevin Durant is on the side just shooting on his own, and that's what he's doing, he's trying to show doctors and coaches, hey, I can play, but he's literally not cleared to play whatsoever. Right. So I think it's unlikely.
Wow, that's bold. I'm going to go a different route here. I think Del Curry at some point in this series is going to show up in Toronto with his old Raptors jersey. He played for the Raptors 3 years at the end of his career. Now, we saw what he did in the Blazers-Warriors series. He had like the custom split jersey to celebrate both of his sons, Seth and Steph, playing each other. But why not, Del? Dude, Raptors legend Del Curry. Just show up in the Curry jersey that you used to wear. You're still repping for your son. Got Curry on the back, got his number, but you're also repping for the Raps. Why not? What's your prediction?
I hope so. One of the big controversies against the Bucks for the Raptors was when Drake started massaging Nick Nurse.
Yeah.
I think this time he's going to do it to Steve Kerr to really try to get under the skin to Steve Kerr. The mind games are going to start early, you know.
I think he'd legit be kicked out if he's massaging the other coach.
That's the thing. There was no punishment for doing it to Nick Nurse. Everyone kind of laughed it off.
Apparently he got a little call from the NBA to maybe tone that down a little bit.
Wow, maybe he's got one more in him before they say, all right, that's it. And I think that's what it's going to be. It's going to turn the game in game one.
These are our predictions. Let's hear from you guys on Twitter, #TheStarters. When we come back, TK talks to Raptors big man Serge Ibaka and fills us in on what's happening up in the 6. Don't go anywhere.
I thought Drake had a tan. His hands were white.
The Starters is presented by Jack Daniel's Old No. 7 and Tennessee Honey.
Joining us live from Toronto, near Gate 5 of the Scotiabank Arena, though it looks like he's just on the set of a game show, it's Trey Kirby. Hey, yo! TK, got you in a funny random spot here. Appreciate you joining us here tonight, buddy. Look, you lived in Canada for a few years. You're the only American on this show, but you lived up in Canada for a few years. How wild is it to you, personally, to have the NBA Finals tipping tomorrow night in Toronto?
I'm looking forward to tomorrow because, to be honest with you right now, the city is still on their first cup of Tim Hortons double-double coffee buzz. It's not raging quite yet. I've seen a lot more Raptors hats than Blue Jays hats, I'll say. I've seen every team store is packed despite the fact that the finals gear hasn't even come out yet. So people are getting ready because tomorrow is going to be the big day. As for the media, the guys who are from Toronto but have been traveling to every other finals, seeing how crazy the finals are, they can't believe it that it's happening here in Toronto, that everybody is in Canada for game one of the NBA Finals. It's exciting, even though right now it's just a Wednesday for Toronto. Tomorrow is game day. It's going to be a rager out in Jurassic Park.
Still feels surreal a little bit that they are tipping the finals in Toronto. All right, you were at Shoot-Around today. What was the biggest news coming out of Shoot-Around? What do we got?
Well, we had two, I will say, minor returns. For the Warriors, DeMarcus Cousins went through practice. Steve Kerr said that if he were playing in the regular season, he would play as many minutes as he could handle, but this is the NBA Finals. Things are a little bit different. I wouldn't be surprised if Cousins plays at some point in game one, but the bigger news, I suppose, is OG Anunoby being upgraded to questionable for the Raptors. He's been out for basically 2 months following an appendectomy. Apparently, there were infection problems after he had his appendix removed, so he looks to be getting back into shape. Could be another body that the Raptors have available here in the finals. They're going to need all of them against the Warriors.
Well, NBA Media Day throughout these finals, it's sort of turning a little bit at times into like Super Bowl Media Day where there's a lot of craziness happening. Did you see anything weird from today's sort of day one, I guess, so to speak?
Oh, no doubt. The weirdest thing I saw today was when the Warriors were taking the court for their portion of shoot-around, and somehow Guillermo from Jimmy Kimmel Live ends up with the ball, and I would say basically everybody in the entire arena wanted to see what his jumper looked like. The jumper was not on point, but he did finally hit a layup, Lee Ellis style, and the crowd went crazy. Yeah, everybody was excited to see what Guillermo was going to be able to pull off once he got the ball in his hands.
Lee Ellis is so jealous watching that footage. Wasn't out there shooting with the guys. It kills you, doesn't it? All right, finally, before we let you go, Trey, you had a chance to talk to Serge Ibaka earlier today. What did you guys get into?
Yeah, talking to Serge was great. We talked about a lot of stuff, including cow genitalia and late-night Chinese food.
Whoa.
How hungry are you is a smash hit on YouTube.
How hungry are you?
What's the craziest thing that you've served to one of your teammates?
You really want to know that? Are you sure?
I mean, I watched the last two. I don't know if you can beat a beef penis and beef testicles. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Also, the worms. I serve at tomorrow. How hungry are you, Debo?
Yo! Yo!
That's one was crazy too.
Is it hard to convince your teammates to actually eat what you show them when they open up that plate?
Yes, a little bit. Some of them a little bit. Before I invite them, they don't know what I'm cooking. You know, that's one of the things because I just surprise them. So when food is in front of them, they don't have a real choice to try.
You can't say no.
No, you cannot say no because I always tell them like, hey, it took me 2 hours to cook this. You better eat.
If there's one player in the league you could cook for, who would it be?
I think I would like to cook for LeBron James.
Sure.
You know, because he called himself the king, and I would like to cook something crazy and to see if he's the true king and eat that.
See if we can take it down. Speaking of the king, you were spotted at Rolsan after Game 6, celebrating with some late night Chinese food. What's your go-to late night Chinese order?
Fried rice.
Yeah.
You know, pork fried rice.
You think that's the best one in the city? I'm more of a new sky man myself.
I don't know really, but personally I like it. Personally I think, you know, that's what I like. It's my taste, so I like it. You may go out there and you may say, you know what, it's okay, but I like it.
Good luck in the final search. Thanks, man.
All right, great stuff. I love how you slipped in a new sky shout out there, Trey. What are you eating tonight? You going late night Chinese tonight?
Actually, I'm heading over to Serge Ibaka's after this. We're going to finish off that beef penis pizza. Should be good.
Excellent. All right, Trey.
Double beef.
Have fun tonight in Toronto. We'll talk to you on tomorrow night's show ahead of Game 1, buddy. All right, when we come back. Oh, Lee likes that, eh? You ever had beef penis, Lee?
No, I've had duck penis, but not beef penis.
Excuse me? All right, when we come back, Tess and Lee, step into the crossfire. Don't go anywhere. Welcome to Crossfire. You know how we roll. These two gentlemen are going to go head-to-head for 3 rounds of questions. At the end of it all, I'll declare a winner and hand out the Crossfire Championship belt. All right, guys, round 1. According to reports, Pelicans executive David Griffin met with Anthony Davis this morning in LA. Yes, Griff has started to make the case to AD that he should stay in New Orleans. But do you think this is actually possible? Can the Pelicans convince AD to stay? Here we go.
Absolutely. You think he wants to go to the Los Angeles Lakers after all that tomfoolery? I'm sure that's what David Griffin was saying in that meeting today. You want to go there and play with LeBron? Why not play with the new LeBron? Right here, Zion Williamson.
Ooh.
Yes, that is high praise for Zion Williamson.
I'll say.
But why the heck do you want to go to Los Angeles when you can play with this guy? They're talking, so I don't think it's a no. It's not a no quite yet.
Still a chance.
Oh, it's a no because they met in Los Angeles. Anthony Davis is already there. He's like, why don't you come to my house? This is where I'm living next year. Just trade me here right now. He's gone far too far down that road to now pull back and say, all right, I'll stick it out for another year and then leave for nothing. If you're Dave Griffin, cash in while you can. Get those assets. Start the rebuild around Zion. Get a few young players and the Pelicans will be on the way up rather than just have lame duck status with him for next season.
Okay, great start.
Guy
Great
always
start.
talks about
Great
duck.
start. Exactly. Loves
Always talking
loves
duck.
his duck penis. All right, round 2. Woj tweeted today, Rockets GM Daryl Morey is showing an aggressive desire to improve his roster and that all players, all picks are available in talks. So guys, put on your best Daryl Morey turtleneck, all right? And tell me, who should the Rockets look to trade? Here we go.
Well, they're obviously not trading James Harden, so the next best player is Chris Paul. Get cash in while you still can. Chris Paul's a Hall of Famer, no doubt about it, but he's also 34 years old. And you know what? They've tried the last 2 years with him, and they've had some success, but they can't get past the Warriors. He's got that huge contract, about $120 million left. That is going to be something of an albatross in a year or two. So if I'm Daryl Morey, cash in while Chris Paul still has value. He's been great. It didn't work. Move on.
Daryl Morey is a master, but can he cash in on a guy who's getting paid over $40 million when he's 37? Clint Capella, I think, is the guy that has high trade value, cost certainty with that contract, and wasn't really trusted by James Harden in the postseason. He averaged less than 10 points per game. It looked like a little bit like Rudy Gobert out there. They weren't giving him the ball, and if your best player is not trusting you, as what showed on the floor, then you might get moved. How about for LaMarcus Aldridge in San Antonio?
Ooh,
I like it.
This guy.
Yeah,
Here's Daryl
trade
Morey
machine.
here.
Click,
All right,
click,
yeah,
click,
all right.
click.
Final round, guys. As we all know, the Raptors reached the NBA Finals for the first time in franchise history on Saturday night. I was there. It was awesome.
Oh, wow.
But we also know Game 1 tipping in Toronto. So we got all these new NBA media members, fans, flocking to the city of Toronto. Some of them for the first time. They need things to do. You guys used to live there. What's a must-do activity in Toronto? Here we go.
I'll speak for myself. This is what I want to do. Let's not get cute. Go to Jurassic Park and watch the game from there.
Okay.
Do you like sports? Well, how about experiencing one of the best aspects of sports, bringing people together in the best way possible? Look at all these Canadians, 50,000 fans out there, not one arrest Even though they were jumping on cars, it was a lot of fun.
All right.
Skeetsy, you said you were at Game 6, but you were also on the CN Tower.
I've done it all, Lee. I've
the
done
edge
it
walk.
all, baby.
I mean, look at this. I think you were like the first or second guy to do it. You were telling me before the show. I mean, what an experience. It's a beautiful day. It's beautiful weather up there in Toronto. You can't do it in winter. So why don't you do that? A bit of an exhilarating experience and get a a great photo like you.
Would you do that?
Of course.
You would do it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go do it. All right. Sorry, Tass, you were going to win. By the way, because he was winning the edge walk with me. It's Lee Ellis.
All right, I'm going. I'm going to go and do the edge walk. He's coming with me.
Why do you always carry the belt like that?
No, because that's how they do it in wrestling.
No, but yeah, they show it forward. Yeah, there.
All right.
There you go.
Eat some duck on the CN Tower.
All right,
Well,
when we
get the
come
duck
back.
pizza from Libretto.
Go watch a basketball game and go walk around the CN Tower. Welcome back to the starters. It was media availability today up in Toronto. Fortunately, we all weren't there. Budget reasons, you know, tough. But Trey was there. But look, we're like everybody else. We're watching on Twitter, the clips coming through. Did you guys have a personal favorite moment from all the clips that we saw from Media Day today?
Klay Thompson, great as usual. Best question he was asked was if he heard a Drake song during the NBA Finals, if he would skip it.
I've been a Drake fan since, I was in high school. He's a great artist. Do I like him as a Raptor fan? No, but I like him as a musician. He's extremely talented, but I will definitely skip this song if I don't like it. And if it's one of his soft, R&B songs, I'm gonna skip it because I'm in kill mode right now, trying to get these 4 games. So I'll skip Hotline Bling and anything along that line.
Klay never disappoints, but he had
Funny
me
Klay.
thinking.
We got funny Klay right now.
You're a big R&B fan.
Of course.
Can you listen to R&B music and still be in kill mode, or does Klay have a point?
He doesn't have a point, no.
So you can still be a killer.
You can be a lover and a killer, sure.
Okay, all right, I'm just asking. That was a good moment. My favorite moment, though, by far, was Lee Ellis up in Toronto. I thought we just sent Trey, but I'm pretty sure you were there, too. That guy looks a lot like you.
Well,
He looks a little bit more like your brother, actually.
He's a handsome devil, I'll say that, mate.
Well,
That
no,
guy,
your brother's a little more handsome than you. That's why it looks like your brother, but...
I saw this guy as well, and I thought, geez, that looks like me out there. I'm going to have to find him.
Do we know if he's Australian? Or?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
think so.
Unfortunate. All right, let's hear from you guys. Jump on Twitter, #TheStarters. Your favorite Media Day moments. You saw all the tweets, I'm sure. We also recorded the Drop podcast on Monday. That's up. Made our predictions. Broke it down in great detail. We'll be back tomorrow for our final show previewing the NBA Finals, 6:30.
Saving the good stuff for tomorrow. Be there tomorrow.
Brace the night, people.
Yeah. Tricky.